Welcome to the Credit Plug channel, where we talk about how to build credit, how to establish relationships with banks and financial institutions, and most importantly, how to get you access to high limit credit funding. If that's something you like to listen to, we welcome you to subscribe. Otherwise, you can support our channel if you just like, share, or even comment down below. It helps our content, and we greatly appreciate the support. So for today's video, we have a special guest. We have Andres Gully from First Merchants. Now, a little backstory before we get into this. Couple weeks ago, it might have been a month ago or so, we did a review on First Merchants business line of credit. That was based on information from another prominent YouTuber in the credit space, Marco Carbajo. And so I know a lot of you guys were going through that link, and I guess, Andres actually found out through the subscribers. I actually invited him to do a kind of a Q&A where he can go over some of the more specifics of their business line of credit. What better way than to get the information directly from the source? So welcome to the channel, Andres. And so I just wanted to go right in. And actually, before we get into it, could you just give a brief introduction, who you are?
My name is Andres Gully, and I work with First Merchants and First Merchants of Texas. This is one of our programs that we came out with. I would say COVID had a big factor in us coming out with the merchant line of credit. Our background was commercial real estate and other lines of credit that we used to do, personal term loan, business term loan, credit card programs. And, we was doing real estate and was set to have a good year until COVID decided that not this year. So, switched into a program. And at first, I'll be honest, I wasn't really interested in the merchant line of credit because I didn't understand it at first. But as we start going through the program, start, developing the program, start getting the program set up, then I started to see the benefits of having a merchant line of credit versus the other lines of credit, like a business term loan or personal term loan, credit cards and things of that nature, how this was something that was just special because it's the first time that we had something that everyone can qualify for. And that's big in itself.
Absolutely. And so what are some of the benefits of the First Merchants business line of credit? Let's say from a business owner's point of view, what type of benefits could they expect to receive from this type of credit product? And then what are some of the qualifications? I know a lot of subscribers want to understand that.
Okay. Well, one of the things that you're going to enjoy, or I really like about this program, is actually building business credit. One of the hardest things to do is, build business credit or get the correct information for building business credit. So as soon as you get your LLC or whatever entity that you go with, you want to start building business credit if you're going the right way. A lot of people go open vendor lines of credit, and they confuse vendor lines of credit with being able to walk into a bank and get revolving lines of credit.
Right.
We kind of talked about that.
I always emphasize that too. It's a difference between vendor credit and bank issued credit. And actually it's weighted differently too when it comes to the types of accounts. That's a great benefit in terms of building business credit with the First Merchants line of credit.
Right. And just to make it simple, I was actually talking to somebody about this because they're saying, what's the difference? A vendor line of credit is a line of credit that you can use just with that vendor. When you have your own revolving line of credit, you can use it with anyone. So, we're going to help you build business credit because our program actually report to Experian Business, which Dun & Bradstreet get their information from. So this is reporting to the EIN. So it's not reporting to your personal, and that's big because a lot of people, what would happen is they will go get a personal guarantor assigned to their account, and that's how they go get their loans. But when that PG leaves, there's no guarantee that that company is going to be able to stand on its own if the lines of credit was to a person who personally guaranteed, what's the PG. Okay. Whereas our program, the lines of credit are being attached to the EIN. So the EIN, the business itself, is actually building the business credit.
Wow, that's huge. So really quickly, so that's a good point you made in terms of when like a beneficial owner is personally guaranteeing a debt, like a credit card. let's say that business winds up changing ownership, right? Usually that credit account is going to disappear but with this, for example, let's say there was a change of ownership in the business. Would this line of credit, since it's attached to the EIN, would that transfer over, or would that not work the same way?
I haven't, and to be honest on it, I haven't got the definite answer, but usually what you're going to see is the business itself has built the credit.
Right.
And they might still look at, whoever the other person is, because you want to make sure they're not, but the theory is you're building this to the EIN. It's being built to the business. I know when we look at doing your increases, we're only looking at the business.
Okay. I guess could we also go into how the line of credit and the merchant account kind of work together? Because I think that's something that a lot of subscribers just kind of want to understand a little bit more about the mechanics. So with this product, the merchant account and the line of credit, do those kind of work together? Like you have
married.
to have, okay.
They're married. And what we do is this. Our program doesn't require a personal guarantor. What we do is you have to have a merchant account to attach the line of credit to. That's how our program is a little different than some, because people say, oh, this is similar to something else. Similar, but we're different. We're the only ones that you have to have a merchant account first. So we do lines of credit. And so we were turning people away who didn't have a merchant account, but what we did was we just said, let's have a division. We'll handle that for you too. So everything is handled in-house. So the reason you want the merchant account, because the merchant account is pretty much the guarantor of your line of credit. As transactions run through your credit card machine, because I understand sometimes say merchant account, people get confused, but your credit card machine.
Right.
As payments run through your credit card machine, there's going to be a 75-25 split. 75% of the money is going to your business bank account. The other 25% is going to your line of credit to pay on your line of credit. Now, where people get confused, that I've had people ask me, they're thinking it's like a loan. If you get a loan for $1,000, you make a payment. The money you making the payment to, you can't use. This is a revolving line. So if you have money, if you just had $500 or $1,000 go towards paying on your line of credit, that money is still available. So you're not losing money. And that's the thing that I would get asked is 75% going to my bank account, what happened to the other 25%? That other 25% is going to pay on a line of credit that you can keep using.
Got it. That makes sense. So let's just say, let me just throw out an example, right? Let's say, okay. You have $1,000 being processed through your machine. And so 750 of that will go to the business bank account. And then correct. 250 would just be applied, I guess, in a sense, like statement credit to whatever you do charge up on your line of credit. Is that
right? So if let's say you on that same account, like you've used the money, let's say you use all your line of credit, well, 250 is going to pay on that line of credit to bring it back down, but you can still use that 250.
Got it.
Here's the other side to our hybrid account is, let's say you hadn't used your line of credit yet, but you got 250 applying to it. Now you have cash value on top of your line of credit. We have the only line of credit that will build a cash value. So, depending on how you want, I can tell you that my cash value just goes straight back to my bank account. So you do not lose the cash at all.
Right. And that makes sense. And I try to explain this too, so that there's a trade-off, right? The trade-off with, I guess, not having to undergo a hard credit check is that, that 25%, that's kind of like the mitigating factor in a sense is right. That there's constant, money being applied to that credit line, so it doesn't get out of control. So that totally makes sense. So in terms of the qualifications for the merchant line of credit, well, let's start off with the merchant account, because that's a prerequisite, right, for the line of credit.
You have to have a merchant account. And here's the thing, we can get anyone a merchant account. One of the hardest industries to get a merchant account for is credit repair, business services. Those guys are hard to get merchant accounts for. That's traditionally why they've been on PayPal, they've been on Square, they use those type systems. The problem is you're outside of their terms of agreement. So if you probably heard the stories of people who've been with PayPal, who ran a bunch of money through, now your money's frozen for 6 months. And think about it, there's no litigation with PayPal or Square. Who are you calling? You're emailing, you don't get a live person.
Yeah.
you get a live person on the phone. So we would set you with a merchant account, and what's going to happen is, what the process is, once you come through, you'll get your DocuSign, you fill out. Your second thing is your merchant account call. I mean, we can do flat rates, we can do cash discount programs, we can do interchange, we can do POSs, we can do swipe, we can do anything that you want to do. We have clients that are processing over $300,000 a month, and we have clients that are processing $300 a month. So we can custom set up anything that you want set up. You need a fancy POS, we have access to all of them. And we have very, very competitive pricing, and we show you all the pricing up front. And you wind up saving money with us. I would say 90% of the time, I'm going to give you the best rate. But then there's always going to be that 10% of the time somebody's grandfathered in on something like that to where we can't change, or it's more of a headache to change, because you do not have to change your existing merchant account if you have a merchant account. But if you would PayPal, Square, Stripe, and even though they do the same, it's almost like a debit card versus a bank card. They look the same, but one comes with a bank and a bank card, the other one's just NetSpend card, which is totally different. It's just those other services, they don't have a merchant ID. PayPal doesn't have a merchant ID. They don't have merchant ID. So as long as you have a merchant account, you don't have to switch. We can join with what you have. You just have to have a merchant account.
Got it. And that's a good point that you make, because that was actually one of the mistakes that I made, kind of misunderstanding what an actual merchant account was. And actually, PayPal, Square, Stripe, they're not actually merchant accounts. They're what's called money remitters. So yeah, that can be a nightmare. I have personal experience that I won't go into, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of benefits. So as a small business owner, how do you go about getting approved for this particular account? What are the qualifications, and then what types of data do you need? Let's say if you want to go for a credit limit increase.
So when it comes to any business, the first thing is you have to be a business to have a need for a credit card. So if you don't have a need for a credit card, I won't be able to get you a line of credit. Even though we may be able to get you a merchant account, you're really doing this for the line of credit. So gambling, I cannot get you a line of credit for gambling. I cannot get you a line of credit for adult industry.
Right.
I know that I'm just going to cover broad, because some of it's a lot of gray area. I'm just going to say no. I can't get you a merchant account for CBD or marijuana right now. I know they're supposed to be, certain. So just right now, those top three.
Got it.
Gambling, the CBD, marijuana, and adult industry, we just won't be able to get you a line of credit for those. Another one is real estate investors. You can't use the money for investing. So when it comes to real estate, if you have rental properties and you want to allow them to take credit cards, okay, that's something that we can allow you to come through. But real estate investing, flippers, and things of that nature, the program is not geared for them. As far as qualifications, once we know that you have a need for a merchant account, you don't fit any of the things that you can't. The only other thing would be if you went through a program called 5-Star, the 5-Star card. I think you may have reviewed it.
Right. Yeah, we've done.
Our systems are similar, so you can't be in both. You're either going to be with 5-Star or you're either going to be with us. So you can't, if you've already applied with them and you got approved with them, you won't be able to go through our program because of the way with the technology on the back end, they're kind of similar. But other than that, the only thing that you need to qualify would be your entity information, whether that's a DBA, a LLC, a S Corp, LLP, it doesn't matter. Then we're going to need your EIN letter. We need the actual letter.
The SS4, yep.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the most important part where people mess up on. I need a voided business check. It can't be a starter check. So it has to have the business name and the address on there with the account number. If you don't have that, that's fine. Give me your business bank statement. I just need the first page. I don't need all 6 pages. I just need the page with the name and the address and the account number. And what that's for, so we can make sure your money is going in your account. That way, because we will have that information. The last thing that we're going to need is a photo ID. So it's just 4 items that you need: entity, EIN, voided check or bank statement, and photo ID. And also the way everything's set up in a DocuSign, it's set to where you have to attach it in the DocuSign. And we use DocuSign because it's more secure instead of you sending important information back and forth over the mail. And the answer to your last question is when it comes to for as a line of credit increase. Listen, we can review after 90 days, but you want to have activity. You know, if
Exactly.
you just got your account and you're not really using it, it's going to be hard for me to justify giving you an increase and you're not using your account. So the more you use your account, like this is for someone who's actively using their account.
Transactions.
You
Right.
want to have transactions because the more transactions you run, then we can look at it. It can come up for review. And then in that period, they basing it really is going to be on your activity.
Got
That's
it.
how the
Got it.
line of credit is increased.
I mean, that's a good point too. And something that I even somewhat discovered was if
Mhm.
that account isn't transacting, yeah, it just isn't evaluated the same. So the activity, in and out of the merchant account is really what's going to, dictate, credit limit increase. And it makes sense, if there's no logical justification for the credit limit increase, then it just won't happen. So
Right. And
that's
to add to that, you want to use your line because as you use your line, when you run transactions, that is what pays on the line. The payments is what report to, Experian Business and Dun and Bradstreet. So you want to use them. One of the things that I tell everyone is use us for your working line. Listen, you got to pay your phone bill every month for the business, use our line of credit. You may have an office bill, use our line of credit. Use my line of credit for your working things. And that way, once you start reporting, because we all know what happens when you got a bank, you can get a credit card, something down the road, you start doing good, you start getting other offers. So now as we start reporting, other banks are going to start offering you lines of credit and bigger lines of credit. Well, use us for the working and then keep your other $5,000 and $10,000 lines of credit clear. So when it's time for you to buy that big piece of equipment, your $10,000 hasn't dwindled down to $5,500 because you was using it for knickknacks. And
exactly.
because we know $100 here, $200 here, $300 here adds up. So use us for the working line of credit, and that way when you use your other lines of credit, use that for your big purchases.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And then in terms of credit scores, right? Is
Mhm.
there a minimum credit score? And then, like in terms of the initial credit limits, what does that look like? Are there is like, for example, is there a particular credit score range to get a certain amount initially? Um,
Mhm.
could you share a little bit on that?
Yeah. So the part about really, we don't have a minimum score, so I have to be careful with that. I've seen people come through with a 550 or 450, excuse me,
Oh, wow.
and get approved. Now, you come through less than 600, you may only start out with $200 and $300. You get closer to 700, you'll start seeing like 5 to 1,000. Once you're over 700, you start looking at kind of like 1,500 and up. 730, you're going to be around 3,500 to 7,500. Just really depends. But this is why I tell people it really doesn't matter when you first come in. We have a food truck business, okay, that they came in with a line of credit. Credit was not that good. They only got $500 initially. Now, this is why I prefer a merchant line of credit program versus a program that's not merchant, where it's dependent on your FICO.
Right.
This person came in, their volume that they're doing is $30,000 to $40,000 a month. So they was able to come in and get 500, and they had a prior merchant account, so it wasn't like they didn't have a merchant account. So we was able to use their bank statements, we was able to use information from their real merchant account, and probably a little bit quicker than 90 days, we was able to get them $20,000, 25,000. So they jumped real quick.
Wow.
So this doesn't depend on your FICO. You have some people with bad credit that make a lot of money.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's really common, and this is just something that I'm, emphasizing a lot with even with our subscribers here is that your banking activity. I mean, that data in itself is very rich. Like, if whatever sales data you have, your point
Mhm.
of sale data, all of those are assets that you can leverage in order to get access to credit. And this is a clear example where by showing activity, showing income coming in, showing transactions, that will only help you in, with this particular type of product where it's really just looking at, how much money is coming in and out of your business. So a big point of emphasis is for small business owners is really kind of focus on, funneling your expenses through a platform where all of that data is being aggregated, because that will unlock, especially if your credit isn't, where it needs to be in terms of, traditional credit score based types of lending products. So again, this is another great product. We do have a landing page if any of the subscribers are interested in applying. And any other parting, information that you wanted to share with the subscribers before we wrapped up?
Yeah, we're doing something special. I'm not going to take away your shine. I'll let you do it, but we're doing something special just for the credit plug, to where you'll have your own, your own dedicated page, your own dedicated for DocuSign, and then I will let you reveal the special that we talked about.
Right. So,
So
so if you through the end of the year, through the end of 2020, if you apply and are approved through our landing page, then you get 10% off the $99 application fee. So, you would just be paying $89. So that's a great discount, and that's only through the Credit Plug.
you only want to get that.
So definitely take advantage of it. I know we did a review on this a while back. And another point I wanted to make too, where this kind of distinguished itself from some of the similar types of merchant account and line of credit, is the fact that the limits go much higher than some of the ones that we've reviewed. Like Five Star Processing, where I think they max out at 10,000. With additional transaction and bank statements and other data, a business can grow their line of credit. And one last question too, I wanted to ask: does this particular line of credit, does it have cash access, or is it only swipe?
So you can have money transferred to your bank account. It's like a
Got it.
regular line of credit. Plus, remember, it comes with a credit card, so you can always pull money off your card.
Got it. Wow, wow. And in terms of interest rates, what are the interest rate ranges for the line of
So,
credit?
it's going to be like a standard card, Prime Plus, but that's only if you don't pay off your line of credit by the end of the month. So,
Right.
I run so many transactions that I've, I- you know, I haven't had to make a payment because I run a lot, because I actually use my merchant account. So
Right.
it's like I use it for anything. And you can use this for, you can use this to take your clients out to eat. If you want to go out to eat, you need to get a business suit, you need to go on vacation, whatever, just don't go buy a house with it, and
Right.
it will come.
Exactly. With the 75-25 split, I mean, money's always getting applied to the
Mhm.
balance anyway. So
Right.
it sort of makes the interest somewhat negligible. But
Mhm.
uh, excellent, excellent. Well, again, I appreciate you, coming over to the channel and providing us with, information and data points directly from the source. I don't think we've had anything like that, but this is definitely of great value to a lot of our subscribers who are business owners. So again, don't forget, we have a link in the description of the channel if you want to apply for the First Merchants business line of credit, as well as a merchant account if you don't have one already. Andres can help you get set up with all of that, get you up and running. And so definitely check it out and take advantage. But again, it was a pleasure having you on the channel, and hopefully we can have
Thank
you
you.
on again sometime later down the road. But again, this is the review of the First Merchants business line of credit. So that's all we wanted to share for this video. Until next time, y'all take it easy, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.